Hi. Okay, so today I want to have some fun with some watercolors. Okay. I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to do this yet, but I have sketched out some ideas just like for some flowers and things. Can't see it too well, but I have those ideas, but I kind of want to just get warmed up with the watercolors. So I'm going to open my paints. And then I'm going to figure out where I left my water. So, yeah. But I have the paints. Okay, very pretty color. I even paletted it out. So there's all of the colors right here, and they're pretty pastel, but if you layer them, you can get some pretty good colors. So I'm gonna be right back. I think I left my water somewhere. Okay, sorry. I have my water now, which means, like, I can actually do the watercolor. But we're gonna get started just because, how about, just gonna take some of that and we're just gonna do like a little rainbow, because why not? Because rainbows are fun. I really want to get better at watercolor, but I haven't had the motivation recently, so we'll see. But yeah, I'm just gonna get down like a simple red, and we're just gonna do like a little rainbow, and then we're gonna fade it into the orange and all that stuff. And yes, indeed, happy little rainbows. Gotta start with the rainbow first, right? Watercolor is just so relaxing. Okay, wonderful. Let's do some orange now. I'm not super great at watercolor because you have to work while the paint is still wet, and I'm definitely not used to that because I work mostly with graphite and, dry materials. I'm gonna dry that off and get all the color out before we go on to yellow, because yellow is it's such a light color that you have to get just the yellow if you want anything to show up. But I mean, hey, that kind of works. Ah, yes. Honestly, yellow is like my least favorite color, but I feel like if you use it right, it can be really pretty. See? And there we have the start of a rainbow. And then I think we can move on to the green. I probably dragged that orange and red out way too far, but you know what? Not all rainbows are perfect. If every hot dog was perfect, we wouldn't have pork chops. Okay, so now we can move on to the green. I think that yellow is working pretty good. We're probably not, I think green is going to be our last color. Maybe we'll do another one with blue and purple, but we're just going to start with this green and see how it works out. It's very light. Might not be able to see it, but we'll just do a darker green. Sure. Ah, yeah, that's really pretty. This is my favorite color on here. I always love these deep greens. Cool. Okay, okay, okay. That green could be darker. I'm definitely not used to watercolors yet because I'm used to going over things like over and over and over again. And with watercolor, you can't do that because you'll wear a hole in the page. Fun fact, I learned that the hard way. Okay, so we got that. I think I'm actually going to switch to a smaller brush and try to do some small little flowers to encourage me to actually do flowers, because flowers can be very tricky to do unless you do them right, but just some simple little ones, because why not? These aren't the best flowers. These are like kindergarten flowers, but I need to warm up with the brush because it's not my main tool. Just some nice little flowers. Again, like watercolor is so relaxing. Cool, cool. Okay, let's do what we can do. Let's do some. Ooh, we could do a different little thing for each color that we've done. So we could do like a pretty pumpkin for the orange. How about that? Honestly, gradients are just my jam. They're so great. Gradient. Ooh, that orange is bright. We could add a little bit of red in there. I know that that's orange, but gotta have some color variation. How about we add the tiny little stem on top? I don't have many browns in this palette, but I do have this one, and I think it's pretty good. Great. Okay, cool. We have that. What could we do for yellow? I mean, a lemon is always a good bet. Sure. We'll start with a lemon. But then again, lemons are usually very hard to pick out from just, a yellow blob. Got the shape of our lemon, got the base color. Then let's add some brighter yellows in there to give the nice good lemon color. Cool. Okay. Well, I think that's enough yellow, but we can add like a tiny little leaf on top. Cool. Tiny little lemon. And then you know what? Let's just do some like no, actually, I'm not sure for green, but I mean, leaves are always a safe bet. So let's do like some vines and such. Got some of these vine type things. Honestly, it's looking more like really wavy grass. But I mean, can add some smaller grass down at the bottom here. Cool. Okay. What if we go in with a really light green, and then we can add little leaves. Cool. Leaves are, I think, one of my favorite things to draw because they're just all of the curves and the organic shape is just, it's wonderful. It's wonderful for my hand. Those leaves don't look the best, but you know what? It's a warm-up. It doesn't really matter. Okay. And now we have that. So I think I actually do want to move on to the bookmarks now. I do have to cut the paper, but I have a packet of heavyweight mixed paper here. Now there's this really thick paper right at the very beginning. And like it's really thick, so I know it's gonna hold the watercolor well enough that I can actually make bookmarks out of it. So we can tear that out. Whoop. If it'll be nice to me. Okay, cool. We'll start with just one sheet for now, because I still haven't figured out what size I want them to be. Maybe we could do a range of sizes. I know I want to start with just a couple of gradients, because I'm actually good at gradients. So let's do, okay, we're not going to use this fancy machine because apparently the paper doesn't like it. So, ruler time. Haha, ruler, okay, cool. Now I think I'm gonna keep it about, say, 2 inches? Yeah, sure. So what I do when I usually measure stuff that's too big to fit in my paper cutter is I measure the top and the bottom and then I do a line in between the two so that I can easily cut it with my scissors. So once I got those, I can draw the line. It's a bit tricky to get both sides lined up. Then I can go in and I can cut it. Okay, so we got one. Start with that for now. I'll put that big paper off to the side. We've got this really long skinny bookmark. So I'm gonna have some artist tape, and then I can tape it down and we can do just like a nice little gradient through it. And this time I won't do it too much so I can actually fit all the colors on. Let's do it, say that far. Now, by putting the artist tape on the ends, we can prevent the watercolor from seeping through all the way, and then we can have this nice little white border on the outside, if I can get it to stick. Actually, luckily it doesn't actually matter if it sticks to the table, it's just an extra bonus of the tape. So I'm gonna move it like that so that I can do a gradient easier, because then I can section it. Cool. Okay, just one more and then we can move on to the paints. The tricky thing about tape is that it never goes where you want it to go. Well, that's close enough. And we have all 4 sides taped up. Actually, I learned that trick in an art class pretty recently, actually. I'm surprised I didn't figure it out sooner. We got that. I'm going to take one of my wider brushes so that I can more easily cover the surface area. And I think since we didn't get to use blue and purple, I think I'm gonna do kind of like a sunset type thing where there's gonna be the horizon line and then like the sea and a pretty sunset above it. we just gotta figure out how that works. So let's do the blue first. So I think I'm gonna use more of my artist tape so that I can section off where I want the blue to end. And then I can do the just the blue part, and when I peel that back off, there's gonna be like a clean, crisp line where I want the blue to end. So we'll start with that. I usually start with a lighter color so that I can blend it better. So I think I'm gonna start with this blue right here, and I'm just gonna, it's gonna be very light because I'm gonna add the darker colors in a bit later, but you probably won't be able to see this coat on camera. Once I get the lines in and the darker colors, that's gonna be pretty cool. So I think I want it to be lightest at the top and more purple down at the bottom. So I'm gonna keep that how it is, and then I'm going to go in with, say, like this, just like a little bit, just like the tiniest little amount, and just put it at the bottom. And then apparently that wasn't enough, so you're gonna want to do more if you're following along with me. Yeah, so I put that down there. I do still want this to be very pastel because, you know, watercolors. But I think, well, actually, you know what? I'm gonna put a little bit of purple at the bottom here, just for some fun seafloor fun, because, you know, why not? And also purple ocean, like those kind of gradients, they're just wonderful to me. Oop. Okay, cool. I think that's the darkest I want to go, so I'm going to dry off my brush and go back to that lighter blue so that I can blend that in properly. And I think that looks pretty interesting. Now, I think when that dries, I'm going to go in with some darker blues. Actually, you know what? No, I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to get one of my thinner brushes, and I'm going to go in with this blue, because that's a good one. And then I'll do things like that. It's like little streaks in it. And I just think that adds a little bit more depth. And then I think I want to go more water on the lighter bits, but with that same color so that it still blends in, so that we can, things like that where we got the little lines. It's a bit hard to see, but I'll definitely post a picture on Instagram when I'm done with all of my bookmarks, because I enjoy doing things like this. So I think the sea's done, but I gotta let that dry so we can start planning our little sunset scene up here. So I think I want to start with, you know, the sun, of course, and then perhaps we won't do the sun because that's a circle and I don't want to bother doing a circle right now. But we can start with lighter yellows and oranges and then work up to pink and then more purple so that both sides kind of end in purple. But yeah, I think that's what it is, and I think like a couple, just a bit longer, and then we can like, actually, you know what? Yeah, it probably won't bleed. Don't take my word for this. But see, we got that nice crisp line. It's very good. I just, oh. And when you peel back tape, it's so satisfying. I am just gonna keep that for a minute, let that finish drying, and then I can just put it over the blue so that the pink doesn't bleed into the blue. I'm very excited for this one because I just, you know, sunsets are so pretty. So I think while we wait for that to dry, we can actually start with the purple. but I'm gonna put down a base of pink first, because usually, you know, purples have a base of red. So we're gonna start with this pink right here. We're just gonna drag that down a bit. We'll just drag that down. Ah, it's such a nice pink. And then we can add the purple in. Let's go with this purple first, because I know that this is a lighter purple, and then we can add the darker one in on top if this works out. Oh yes, I think that's wonderful. I think, honestly, I don't need much water for this because I want a really vibrant color. We'll kind of stop the purple there, and we'll do a deeper purple up here, you know, and then, oh yeah, that's great. Okay, cool. We got that. I'm gonna dry my brush off and get all the color out of the icky purple. Purple's actually like a wonderful color, and I love using it. And then I think just a bit longer for that blue to dry. So while we wait for that, let's go back in with this pink. Ooh, yes, that's such a vibrant color. I love it. And then we can drag that down, and we can blend some orange into there, because I think that just looks wonderful. Okay, let's do this orange. Do this one first, so we can start with it and like drag that up to blend it in. It's a more pinkish orange, definitely. And then we can go back in with like a good orange and blend that in a bit. And then we can, as we're getting literally within a centimeter, I'm going to just carefully put this tape back over the blue. Not very much, like I gotta get it pretty precise if I don't want it to bleed. And then I can go like that. And then it looks nice. So we got some nice gradients in here. Maybe after all of that dries, I can go back in with a white gel pen like this and yellow to put in the sun, and then I can do like sea foam as well. So we'll let that dry. I'm gonna peel up the edge tape so that we can do another one while we wait for that one. Whoop. Cool. Okay. I am just going to put that, you know what, we'll put that right on top of there, and we'll just wait a bit. So, what should we do next? I feel like we had our good old gradient fun. Let's cut out the next one. I wonder, I'm gonna cut it out the same size as the other one, but then I'm gonna split it in half so that I can so that I can have two smaller bookmarks, and I can do some pretty flowers on those, kind of like the ones on this sketch right here, because I just kind of sketched these up randomly like about a week ago, and I just love how they look, and so I got the inspiration to do watercolor bookmarks. And so I figured this would be a good time, and I could have some fun with watercolors. Hopefully I can get a watercolor book soon, and I can do some of the things from that on stream. Okay, we got that. Put that paper back. So we have this. How long is this? It is 9 inches, or about, so we can mark that about halfway on both, and then we can cut that in half. So it would be about 4.5 right there. And then 4.5 up here. Cool. And then since this one is so small, I probably don't need to draw a line on it. And I can just go flip. Cool. We have two tiny ones. Not sure how these will work, but for these ones specifically, I want to put a hole on the top of them and then put some ribbon through it. So that should be pretty cool. But I think, with these ones, I just want to do the flower on them. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to sketch it out. So I'm just going to take one of my pencils, and I think I'm going to do this one because I really like that one. Like, that one is my favorite on this page. I think I'll do each of these, honestly, so I'll cut out one more of these and split it in half like this. So I'll probably do this first, so I'm going to sketch out something like that. And then I think I'll do the watercolor petals, and then I'll go back in with pen after and do these stems, because that will give it some very pretty line art that I do enjoy on my artwork. It's a very light sketch, so you probably can't see it on camera, but I mean, it's just for me to use as a guide when doing the watercolors, because I am not the most proficient in brushes. We can just do that in a little nub. And then, whoop, a little leaf. I am very looking forward to seeing how this turns out, because I do really like this kind of flower. I'm not entirely sure what it is, but it's from my own imagination, so it's fun. Got flower number 2. Doesn't look the best. I might make it bigger. Actually, yeah, I think I am gonna make it bigger. Because if these are gonna be bookmarks, I need some pretty good flowers, am I right? So we're gonna do that again. We're gonna do really big petals. Or at least as big as I can muster up right now, because this is a very small bookmark. Yeah, that looks fine. So we're gonna do another one right here. And do it coming off this side. All of these flowers have pretty much the same design, but I mean, I think the likeness gives it a nice quality. That one looks off. Okay, so have the second leaf, the little nub, and the back leaf. Okay, cool. So we got the flowers in. I got one leaf, but let's do a couple more. Again, these are just kind of reference lines as I work in the watercolor. So we got that. I think that's pretty. Or at least pretty neat. Got that. I'll go back in. Honestly, I think that top one needs a little bit of work because I don't want it that close to the top. So we're going to get the slightly bigger kneaded eraser. We can stretch that. Oh man, these things are so satisfying. Oh! So then, yep, and then we can erase that top one and redo it not so close to the top so we can actually put a hole punch through it. Okay, so top the stem just a bit shorter, that top bit. And that. Great. Still looks a bit wonky, but I'm sure I hope it will improve with the watercolor. Got those. And okay. We got one. Let's we'll sketch out the other after I'm done watercoloring this. So I'm gonna, I know that I just sketched this, but if you put watercolor on top of the graphite, you're gonna get the lead bleeding through. And I learned that also from a first-hand experience. No one ever really told me that, so I had to learn it on my own. So I'm going to just like lightly brush it off. You probably won't be able to see it, but I'll be able to see it just enough that I can put the watercolor over it. So we got that. Looks like a blank paper again, but I just got a very faint outline of a flower. And hello, robot monkey. It's nice to have you here. Okay, so I think I'm gonna stick with the same color of flower for all three of these. And I think I'm gonna do just a light blue, because that's one of my favorites. So we'll do this blue very first, because it's my lightest. Whoop, that's a lot. Okay, cool. And then we can, I think I'm just gonna go the whole flower except for that center little nub. Can't see it very well right now, but it's very light, so. And then I'm gonna get just a little bit of the blue next door and put it on the edges to kind of shade it. Cool, okay. Then when we're gonna go back to the light blue and do the other two flowers. Now that that one was my test subject. Whoop, that's a lot. We're gonna have to spread that out. Maybe we can have different shades of blue. Have lighter at the bottom and then slightly darker as we work up. That could be cool. We have that one. That one looks decent, I guess. But we're gonna go back to this first one and add a little bit more blue to the edges so that we can differentiate from the other petals. This is one of my favorite things to do with flowers, because I just think it looks really neat afterward. So we have that. Let's get a little bit more water on our brush and get that light blue again so we can do this top flower. Okay, we have that. And then you can add the shadows. And then on this second one, we can add the lines. Hopefully, if they show up. I might have done that a bit too dark. So we got some of those. Honestly, I think the first one looks the best, but we'll see how these other two turn out once they're dry. Actually, you know what I just realized? I just realized that I should probably zoom my camera in just a little bit more so you guys can actually see these pretty flowers. So I'm gonna do that really quick. Hopefully you can see what I'm working on. Nope. Okay, well, I don't think I can right now, sadly. But maybe I'll figure out if I can do that a bit later. But so far, it looks like this. So that's pretty cool. Love that. I do think that bottom one looks the best. I wonder if maybe. We'll see. Okay, so now that that blue is in, I think we're gonna, specifically on that second flower that I did way too dark, we're gonna add yet another little layer of edge to that. Because I do think it will help. Okay. So, we have some nice edges on those. And I think we can move on to some of the other colors. So let's do the leaves next. And then we can do the little details like the inside of the bud right there. So let's do these leaves first. We've got to do a very light green. So more water is needed. We can start with a very light green. And then you can just add that green to all of the leaves. And then we can go back in, I think, with the green right next door. And I'm just gonna add a little bit of shade in. Oh, that's a bit much. Oh well, that leaf's gonna be slightly different in color. Well, I'll do the same to this. We have matching leaves. Okay, cool. Yeah, I don't think there's much else we can do with the leaves. So let's dry off the brush, and I can kind of show you. They're still a bit wet, but that's what we've got so far. So that's fun. I do think the flowers look a little bit better now. So actually, let's do the little yellow on the inside. Just a little bit. Whoop. Okay, that bled a little bit. We should do less this next time around. But a little bit of yellow can't hurt. I mean, it can, but this is testing. Again, I'm not super good with watercolor, so this is kind of a way for me to get used to it. And then, oh yeah, these little bits under the flowers where the stem meets. So let's do just a bit of this green. Just get right under there. I feel quite like Bob Ross right now. It's quite nice. Let's do that. Cool. Okay, so I think that's all we can do at the moment. We gotta let that dry. But our sunset that we just did is dry now. So we can continue working on that. So I think we can remove, I think at least this tape right now. And look at that, it didn't bleed a whole ton, which is fantastic. I love having tape. So I think we'll keep that on for a little bit longer. But I think if I grab a marker from this, then it's just a little black pouch with all my alcohol markers in it. I think I can add a sun in. So I got all of these super fun markers in here. And I think I'm just gonna go with 45. That way, hopefully, if I mess up, it won't be too detrimental. And I mean, if this doesn't work out, gradients are pretty easy, so I can just redo it. Let's try this. Move that sideways. Do just a tiny little sun. Ooh, I'm nervous. Doing things over watercolor that you haven't tested before is always nerve-wracking. But got a little sun there, which I think turned out quite nicely. You can see that, and then I think we can go in and add the white marker. So I think I want to do some very thin clouds, if the gel pen will let me. Hello? Sir? Do 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 do. For some reason, markers always work on my finger, but not on the paper, you know. Can't see that too well, even not on the camera. So, we might not be able to add clouds in. Maybe I'll get some acrylic paint later and add clouds in. But we can take the tape off, which is always anxiety inducing because you never know if it'll rip. But once you do, there's one edge. There's two edge. Three edge. Four edge. And a pile of tape. But this is how our bookmark turned out. Isn't that nice? It's got some nice pastel features in it, and I think it turned out really well. And I'm very happy with my decision of using that alcohol marker to do the sun. So, one bookmark is complete. Okay? So I'm just gonna set that off to the side, and I will showcase all of the bookmarks at the very end. So, let's ball up our tape, because I won't need that any more tape for a bit there. And then I can just throw that in the trash. Okay, cool. So, we can either do another flower, or we can continue on this. And I think this is dry now. So, I think we'll continue on this and see if our plan for the flowers works. And then we can move on to more if we have the time, which we probably will. So, I'm gonna put these alcohol markers back. And then we can continue working on our beautiful little blue flowers. So I think the next step is gonna be the pens and the fine liners. But we have a couple options. We have some water-soluble markers, and we have these fun Prismacolor markers. But these are brush, like tiny little brush pens. And I'm not sure how well they'll work. So, I mean, I think I'm just gonna try this on my my sketch paper, because I don't really care how this turns out, because again, it is just a sketch. So we got that green. That I don't think that's the green I want. And then we also have a teal, which is deeper, but it's still very teal-ish, which is again not what I'm going for. So I think I'm gonna grab my water-soluble ones, because those ones have a fine tip, which is just what I'm looking for right now. So I can grab these ones. These are very fun. And I have this. So I think for this specific one, I'm gonna go for either 62 or 61, which are those two right there. So it's gonna be one of those two. I think I'm gonna grab them and test them. And I think, let me see if I get this right. That's 62, and that's 63, but I think this is 61. Yep, I'm getting good with my markers. So I'm going to just put the palette and lid back on for a second, put that off to the side, and then I can test these. So they have a brush tip, which is what I'm going to use to test colors, and then I will use the fine tip on the actual thing. So I think what I want is actually 62, so the darker one. So I'm going to put that off next to my ruler, and we're going to use this tiny little fine tip, and we're going to have to go over it a couple times because it's very, very fine. But we can start. Oh, yeah, this is always my favorite part, doing the last final touches. I think we'll have time for one more bookmark after this, and then we can poke holes in the two and then put ribbons through them, which will actually make them functional bookmarks, which is that's what I'm excited about, because I actually needed some bookmarks. Okay, so I'm just going to do the stems for right now, and then I'll see. Yeah, so right now they look like this. So I think that's pretty fancy, but I also kind of want to go through the leaves again because, you know, I just like having lines through leaves, but I probably won't outline them completely. So first of all, I need to connect this leaf, and then I need to, they always for some reason bleed better through watercolor. So gotta go faster with those. So I think that's what I want. Now I'm not sure if I should outline the blue flowers. I don't think I will, but have that. I think that's pretty cool. And I think that's really pretty. And then I will probably trim it down and poke a hole through it in a couple minutes. So we're going to set the marker, set the test paper off to the side, and then actually, you know, we'll trim it right now, and then we will start on the next one. So I think, actually, I'm going to draw a line so that I can cut properly, because I do want to trim it just a bit. But I gotta be very light. Okay, and then I think we'll trim it at the bottom too. It'll be like that. And then we can trim that. Cool. That. And there's that. Cool. Okay. And I think I want to at least kind of round the edges on this, but my scissors are not the best for that, so we'll see how that turns out, and if I need to, I can trim the top. Whoop. I'm just getting stuff all over and ruining that corner. So I think we'll just cut the edges off so it looks like a little card, I think. Sure. Whoop, if my scissors will work properly. Come on, lads, I know you can do it. There's that. And there's that. Okay. So that's, I think that's very pretty so far. So I think we're just gonna put that off to the side till we finish the other one. And then let's get rid of all of this gunk. Oop. Throw that in the trash. And we can start on the next one. So I think for this one, since we're only gonna have time for one more today, I want to do this one because it's a lot of flowers and I kind of like that challenge. It also, I think the way that I layered them on this sketch looks very pretty. So we're gonna try to do that, and we're just gonna sketch that out. I will probably make many mistakes as the layering of these flowers is kind of a lot. So we'll start with the stem, work our way around. Cool. And for this one, I wanted a lot of different tiny stems because I wanted there to be a lot of flowers. So that was basically my entire process with this. I just drew a bunch of little, standard 5-leaf or petal flowers and on many different branches. And I mean, it's easy to replicate with watercolor. Or at least if you know how to use a brush, which even I'm still getting familiar with. And I think I'm going to do the same as last time where I outline the stem. And I think I want to go cherry blossom direction with this one because, cherry blossoms, they're pretty. And yeah, so I'm going to go a very light pale pink. And I think that's going to look amazing. Got some of those. Maybe, I think actually I'm going to just finish this little branch and then go in with the watercolors and just wing it because drawing all of these tiny flowers takes so much time. I probably won't do too many leaves on this one just because, there's so many tiny little flowers and it's going to take up so much space, but I think that's how it's going to work for now. So I'm just going to stop sketching here and go on with my process of very lightly removing the graphite so I can still see it. There's that, and I'm gonna get a slightly thinner brush, the finer tip, just ever so slightly. So I have this. It's probably about the same size actually, but I want to use a very light pink. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use this, which looks slightly orange, but it's a very pale color. And it should give us a good base so that if we want to add in any other colors, we can. It's a very good peach color. Every so often I'll show you close up what it looks like because it's quite hard to see in this with this camera because it's so small, but I just love how flowers look. I'm gonna do all these tiny little petals. This very nice peach orangey color. It does genuinely look more orange than peach, but you know what? I think it works. I think it's gonna work. Or I mean, it's gonna have to work at this point because I've already put it on the paper. Oh. Okay. Okay, so I got that branch basically done. So it looks like that so far. Which, again, it's a very light color and I'll probably add some pink in. But just kind of to get the bases down. And then we can add more. So I think let's do this very bright, vibrant pink. I know that it's a lot, but if you add just a couple of little splotches in, it looks quite fancy. Or at least if it blends right. Okay. Cool. Yep. Usually water dilutes the color quite a lot, so I use that to blend pretty often. So I think that makes it just a little bit more pink, which is what we need in this because I picked a pretty orange. But once we get that, I think on this one, I'm gonna get a really fine tip brush and then go through it and highlight the individual petals with a darker pink, but that's gonna have to wait till it's dry. So for now, we can start on the next branch. We're gonna casually do another couple flowers. Cool. Okay, got 2 flowers there. And then start up here. Cool, so add one more flower that's higher up, and then I'm probably gonna do like that. That is the top of the flowers. So I'm gonna do some more that are just slightly below, and then just a couple more, because you know we want lots of flowers on our cherry blossom branch. And then let's do lots of that. Okay, so now that we have those petals in, we can go back to the more vibrant pink and add that in very sparingly, mind you, because when you add it to the edges, it creates a very, I think it's a very pretty edge to it. And it also adds that just like hint of pink that we want in these sakura blossoms. So sweet. So small. Okay. And again, I'm gonna dry my brush off of the ink, or the the paint, and then I'm going to get just a little bit of water on my brush, and I'm gonna blend that in. And then when it dries, it'll create a fun little edge to the flowers. So you can kind of already see with the ones that have dried that the pink adds just a little bit in. Like, I think it looks great. So then I do want to add a couple little leaves in, just because, you know, leaves are fun. And so we're going to go with that, again, really light lime green. Just a little bit this time because we don't want too much. And add just a couple tiny leaves in. Probably not going to show up until I get the camera closer, but okay, so we got 3 leaves in. We got those, and I think that's all I want to do for that one for now. And then while that is drying, we can pick out a color palette for the brown. I think I want to use brown for the little stem bit. So we're gonna have that right there, and we're gonna put our brush to the side, and I do want to use the fine liners again. I don't have any other browns. And grab my palette out of here. I think my options are actually pretty limited with browns, but I think I want to use 35, which is right there in the middle. So let's grab that. Ooh, yeah, let's grab that. That's 40, 48. Some of these markers are just so hard to find because I can't organize them very well in this. 40, 35. Okay, cool. Let's try that. I think that works well. Yeah. Cool. Okay. Okay, so we're going to just set that off to the side for a minute, put our palette back. We're actually going to put the 2 greens that we used earlier back in because we probably won't use them again. So okay, and I'm just going to set those off to the side. And I think the green is still drying, but while that is happening, I think I'm going to grab one of my super fine lined brushes. It's often a completely different can because I don't use them too often. This is my specialty can. So I have all of my super duper fine brushes in here. And I'll probably just use this one because I have before. I'm not sure how well it will work, but we'll put the specialty can off to the side and we'll experiment with these tiny little brushes. Because I know these are supposed to be like nail brushes, so we'll see how this works. Oh, actually, that works really well. So, at least for this, I think that works really well because it did just a little bit so that you can actually differentiate between the petals. Yeah. So I think I'm gonna do that while the leaves are drying, and then we can go through with the brown and do the stem. And then, you know, we can finish it just like the blue one. The only problem with these tiny brushes is that they run out of watercolor so fast, and you have to just keep on reloading them. But I mean, it's worth it for the small lines. Okay, so I got a couple more. I'm not sure how I feel about this, but you know what? I think we're gonna go with it just to see how it turns out. So we have the little edges, and I think I have a yellow paint marker or gel pen or something that I can use to do little insides. So we'll do that when we're done, but we gotta resume the long process of doing line art on these flowers. While we wait for me to finish this up, because man, this takes forever. Does anyone have like a favorite food, or like what they're having for dinner tonight? Like, what we all having? Because I'm getting quite hungry myself. Oh yeah, pizza. I might have some leftover rice later, just because we went to this delicious Japanese food place the other day, and I have some leftover rice from there. So I might have that. I might make something else for myself. We'll see. Anything else? Just pizza? Just everyone gets pizza now? Everyone gets pizza. Woo! Feed the world with pizza. I think that would be an amazing plan, you know, just the entire world gets some free pizza for a day or something. The real way to stop world hunger. Buy everyone pizza for like a day. There you go. Then no one is starving. I did something wrong with that one flower, but you know what? We'll let that dry and figure that out later. Oh man, line art takes forever. But, I mean, it's gonna look pretty. Or at least I hope it'll look pretty. If it doesn't look pretty, maybe I'll just make another. Okay, so update. I've gotten about halfway through, and you can see the flower that I messed up on there, but I have the little bits of line art, so we'll see. I know that the leaves are dry by now, so when we finish this, it shouldn't take too long for this section to dry, because, you know, very thin lines. But once we finish this, we can do the line art for the stem, and maybe who knows, we'll bring back out 31 or whatever marker I was using on the blue flowers and bring that back out just to do a little bit on the leaves. Who knows? Who knows? We'll figure it out. Let's see, is that flower I messed up on dry yet? It is. It's dry enough. I can fix that. Okay, cool. Okay, we're so close. Only 3 more flowers to go. Okay, just one more. One more. I can do it. Okay, so I'm not sure how I feel about it, but I mean, it's happened, so I got these. I got this. So I think I like the blue one better, but we can now do the stem and we can finish it and we can see how it turns out. So, tiny brush, you have served me well. Back in the special can you go. And we can now bring back out 35. It's 35. I almost said 36. Okay, cool. Fine, it is working, and we can just whoop. And I think specifically with this flower, because it's a cherry blossom brand, I'm going to do a thicker base and have it be thinner as it goes up, because I have seen that cherry blossoms do that. So we're going to do that. We're going to see how it turns out. Okay. We got the beginning of a base. And then we can do the little leaves. Like, that's always my favorite part, is the leaves. Or honestly, I think all of this is my favorite part, because all of it is just, it's just wonderful, you know? Nice and relaxing art times. Okay, cool. We got that. And I think it looks pretty good. I think the stem definitely ties it together. I'm still not sure how I feel about the outline, but I mean, it's happened already and I can't really undo it because this isn't digital art. So I have this pretty bookmark, and now, since these markers don't need time to dry, I can cut the edges and trim it. So back out comes the ruler. So we're gonna flip. There we go. And then we can actually trim it now. And there we go. Okay, so now it's the correct size, and we can cut the edges just like we did the blue flower. I think these are going to turn very pretty, or turn out very pretty. Okay, so with the edges trimmed and garbage swept up off the table, we can now take a look at both of these bookmarks side by side. So I think those turned out pretty well, or at least I think the blue one is my favorite. But I mean, I think they both look very pretty. So I think the last step for this is gonna be getting some ribbon on this. But the thing is I don't have very good ribbon. I just have twine. So I am just gonna grab my twine and my hole punch, and we will see. Okay, hole punch acquired. Now the twine is the tricky bit because it's in a hard to reach place. But come on, come on, come on, twine. I know you wanna become friends with our bookmarks. Okay. Twine acquired. Okay, cool. Okay, there we go, twine. And I think that could fit it pretty well. Woo. Okay, so I wonder if I had done this on like some aged looking paper, if it would look like old vintage train tickets or something with flowers on them. I'm not sure. So I think, yeah. Actually, I want to mark the middle of this because I am so afraid I'll mess up on the hole punch. So let's do, this was 2 inches wide, right? So it should be just the 1 inch mark in the middle. And we'll do it right about there. Okay. And we can do the same on the other. And finally, I think the ruler's time for today is done. So you can actually get the hole puncher and punch some holes. Beep, 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 beep. I think just want to go on that and that. And then we have a hole. Wonderful. Okay, let's do the same on the other. Let's do that. I think I like that one better because I didn't do it as close to the top. But let's get the twine. So I think this twine will go quite well with it because I don't have anything better. So I'm just going to cut off an amount and we will see how well this works. Ooh, come on, scissors. I know you can do it. Yeah, doing so well. Okay, good job. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do classic slip knot. So I'm going to double it up and then slip one end through. And then I can do the tails through there. And it can be like that. And then we can trim it to the proper length, which I think for this case it would be about like right there maybe. Let's do, yeah, come on, scissors. Good job. Okay, so we have one. Bookmark acquired. So we got that one. So I'll just put that off to the side, I guess. And then we can do the same. Probably don't need as long since we ended up cutting it. So we'll do that. And we can double it up again. Actually, I think this might be almost the perfect length That's cool. Okay. So, yep. Slipknot. Woo! Okay. Bookmark acquired. And now, actually, let's compare the two to see just how close we were to getting the same length. So let's do... Oh, this one's a bit shorter. Okay. We have that. And we have that. And they're just about the same. I'm getting pretty good at measuring things, apparently. So, we have our two. And we have our sunset. I think I'm going to need to press that in a book so that it stays flat. But let's do a close-up of these one last time before I go. Just admire them in all of their glory. Just look at how pretty they are. I love them so much. I'm very proud with the blue. Because, you know, that's my color. Blue's my color. But I think the Sakura branch turned out pretty well. So, I have these two bookmarks. And then I also have the sunset one, which is, you know, just a bunch of gradients. I might try to add clouds in later, and if I do, I'll probably post a picture of it. Because, you know, fun times. But that's our 3 clouds. We have a messy workstation that I need to clean up. And I will probably end it here. I think, you know what we're gonna do? We're just gonna, I'm gonna say farewell for now. So thank you for coming along this bookmark journey with me. And I will see you guys later. If I can, yep. Wait a second. Okay. Bye, guys.